but the group that's most likely to exhibit and express physical violence or property damage towards another party, it
Mhm.
appears to be women, but the narrative is men. Intimate partner violence.
Mhm.
The narrative is, and a lot of the ladies continually talk about the violence, which is obviously a problem in men in general who put their hands on women and whatnot.
Mhm.
But when you actually again look at the data,
Yes.
um, the numbers are actually comparable between
Mhm.
men and women,
Mhm.
and women are actually oftentimes more of the initiators
Oh, yeah.
of the violence, and that the highest DV rates is in between different couples, between same-sex couples and heterosexual couples, is actually between a woman and a woman.
Yes.
But the narrative is that the most violent, now obviously we're stronger, but the group that's most likely to exhibit and express physical violence or property damage towards another party, it
Mhm.
appears to be women, but the narrative is men. What are your thoughts about that? Yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
No, Tommy Curry was the one that really blew me away with that, and that was a couple years before he even wrote the Man Not. Matter of fact, he sent me the Man Not in a Word document and asked me what I thought about it, and it blew me
Mhm.
out of my chair. But he was one of the first that I really saw, kind of break into that, where he was showing us that when it comes to intimate partner violence, most of the stats on bidirectionality, the men, hitting women, women hitting men was nigh equal. I had never heard that before because, again, I'm
Mhm.
sitting in these feminized environments where you could say that men just want to kill women in mass, and that would be received as truth, even by the professor. You
Yeah.
could say that. And I've heard professors say it, and it was accepted, and everybody just took notes. Well, so, when I'm actually starting to look at this data stemming from Tommy's research, he was the first that I saw point out bidirectionality was far more the norm. He was the first that I saw point out that in the 1980s, and this goes back to the Man Not as well, there were series of years where black men, were actually experiencing abuse at higher rates than black women.
In
And
the 80s.
in the 80s, I've never seen anyone talk about that across 3 universities and several degrees. Nobody had brought that up at all. So that, you mentioned that women will often initiate violence. They'll also be the ones to use not just weapons necessarily, but use other means to hit somebody with. Use I don't want to say devices, but
Frying pans.
frying pans, jars. The women were more apt to were more apt to do that. I didn't know that. It made sense when I thought about it, but I never thought to research it.
Mhm.
So between that, bidirectionality, the rates of abuse and heterosexual versus same sex relationships, all of those things were swept under the rug. My son is going through this now. He's in his third year of college, and what he's taught in his classrooms, every semester he has a race gender class, and he tells me it's basically the same thing I've heard since high school. It's almost like they've taken the same playbook, and in every semester he's given the same list of things that he's approved to think about. When it comes to abuse, men are abusers, women are victims. That's it. It's just a straightforward narrative. There's no nuance, there's no analysis, there's not even any empiricism. These are things
Mhm.
you're allowed to think and say in class. If you raise question, it goes back to your experience in those classrooms in grad school. Right? But we've seen that. Yeah. So when it comes to intimate partner violence, there's all kinds of data around it, especially intimate partner homicide is similar.
Nah,
If
I
you
didn't look into that.
well,
Wow.
no, it's similar in the sense that if you just came out of the school courses I had,
Uh-huh.
you might hear people say, and this is something I heard on YouTube, I think 6, 7 years ago, where they were saying a black man was killing a black woman every 5 minutes or something along
Yep.
those lines. Again, shout out to Tommy Curry. And there was another brother in the circle that kind of is a sociologist who gave me some info. We were having a conversation, the three of us, and one of the brothers said, "Look, as a sociologist, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than beaten by your spouse."
Correct.
And I was like, "That can't be." And but then we started to look at the data and found that to be true. And then after that, Tommy made mention of something that blew me away. He said,
Mhm.
in terms of intimate partner homicide, there's only a couple of hundred men and women that are killed each year. Now, that's not to suggest that anyone being killed should be dismissed or taken lightly.
Yeah.
Life is a life. It's regrettable anytime someone loses their lives. But the narratives that Black men have been fed, going back to the 1980s, all those talk shows we've heard, those classes you've sat in, we heard that we were killing women in mass. And what you find out is out of 43 million odd Black folk, you got about 200 to 300 on average every year, 200 men, 300 or so women that are killed in intimate partner homicide situations. Measure that against 43 million and tell me what percentage of men are killing women. And when you look at it from those lines, the numbers are actually far closer than they should be with the kind of rhetoric we've been hearing for decades about Black men. Right? So that's intimate partner homicide. I have a few blogs on that same blog site I gave you earlier where the Black male political agenda is located, where I list that data and the sources where you can go check that out yourself. But you're usually talking about a couple hundred people on each side of the gender line every year. But if you listen to popular media and most particularly the discussions happening in households, families, university classrooms when it comes to Black folk, Black men are monsters.